we have a draft. Game number 3 of Thunder Awaken versus the side of Hokori. These heroes are going to be extremely important, especially for the Hokori lineup, to ensure that they continue their road towards TI. So let's see what they're going to be having in the mix here. Really interestingly, though, the entire day we still haven't seen Marcy involved at all here in Division 1. So I'm wondering if that's going to change here in Game 3, given the impact that hero can have early on in these games. So will be very fun to watch. But while the draft is still busy getting ready, Sexy Fat, any kind of heroes that you feel have still remained underpicked? We've spoken about this Warlock, of course, earlier on. What else do you want to see that nobody is grabbing here in this region? Sadly, it won't be Visage, because that's going to be the first ban of the game.
I do believe we're gonna see Mirana for Thunder Awaken. It's a good hero that Matthew plays it, and plus do it the Wraith Pact we have been talking about. So something I wanted to see.
Okay, Grimstroke Tiny going to be the opener for Thunder Awaken in response to the first overall pick, Doom, from Hokori. This is one of these heroes that tends to enjoy a lot more credit and contestation here within the South American region, this Doom hero. Why is that the case, though, Kips? That Doom is not really as highly valued elsewhere as it tends to be in South America, especially in the ban department this side of the world.
Yeah, I do think Eastern Europe values it really highly as well, but it's one of those regional oddities, right? It's EU East and SA and not a lot elsewhere. In this case, I think both the flexibility as well as the fact that you can get a lot of money on the table for very little effort, and I think regions that don't see that are frankly undervaluing it. Doom's very, very powerful. And you can see that Thunder Awaken were completely ready for that first pick as well, because they immediately pick up the Grimstroke, deny that double Doom possibility, and get themselves a core that can still slap back at that Doom if he actually gets hit by that ultimate. So.
This fits into the general philosophy of how Thunder Awaken like to draft anyway, right? Very versatile hero, because Dark Mago plays as Tiny. They play this on Matthew as well. We've seen Pakaz occupy the safe lane with the Rockman. So it makes it a little bit interesting in terms of how they're going to run it. And it's I love them seeing the Monkey King pick. Because the last game, they really struggled with being able to remove MK from the arena. This game, though, you have a sort of guaranteed way to do that if you can isolate him within the Wukongs. But we don't know just yet where this Monkey King is going. Sexy Fat, what do you think? Are we going to be seeing once again a Yuma Monkey King, or will El Misho finally get a spin at one of his favorite heroes?
I mean, after Yuma's performance, if I were in their shoes, I was like, Yuma, you're gonna play Monkey again, bro. There it is. Please. Yeah, just played really well.
Oh, it's going to be a victim of his own success. And this is happening again, though. Venomancer and the Naga Siren ban. Venomancer's been banned all 3 games, but Naga... what did they ban this into in game number 1? Do y'all remember? Or where it was banned? I forget the order of the first game.
It was game number 1 versus a... It ended up being a Morphling, but it looked for a while like it was going to be a Weaver.
So do we still like it here? Is that still something that might be picking up deeper in the draft, or is it just we know that Thunder Awaken can play Naga very well on Pakaz? We don't want to deal with that, especially when we have these big team fight spells. So we want to give them that combo break to just run away from the fight.
I think it's also got to do... Oh yeah, that's a good ban.
And that...
Batrider ban into Grimstroke. I mean, Grimstroke, Bat, Thunder Awaken, sort of synonymous at this point. What do we have in store here for Thunder? Ogre Magi. Alright, so we still don't have a clear idea of exactly who's going to be in the safe lane, but it's definitely not going to be a Tiny support anymore. Kips, you're the Ogre Magi fan. What's the hype about this one? You like it in this game?
Yeah, I mean, you can make any carry into a flash farmer with the Bloodlust, and of course, versus any kind of burst damage, specifically instance-based burst damage, you get that. Is it 70% reduction from the Ogre Magi shard? You can buy that so early now. It's fantastic. I really love it. It's just that Ogre Magi is a little bit dull to play, so he's got to be strong before I see him. And Hokori, sticking with the winning plan, man.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Sexy Fats. Are you hype? We were not hype. We were not believers. So actually, maybe we need to say bad news about the Ember Spirits to galvanize them to victory. This game not nearly as difficult though as game 2, right? There's no Nyx Assassin on the other side. Doesn't have to worry about that insta catch. So Ember Spirit for Analog looking like he might actually have a pretty decent game here. Also a way to get onto the backlines and catch out those Grimstroke when you need to.
It's true. He started this series practicing on hard level. Now he's going for easy mode on game 3. Seems very good for Analog. I think he's sharp on his Ember now. Must be feeling good.
Yeah, I mean, then again, versus the Grimstroke, it's a bit. It can go either way, right? Because the single target silence is not that great, and the leash especially can screw you over big time. So he has to still be careful.
I mean, we've seen that if we make things too easy for Analog, then he won't be able to perform to the max level. You know, it needs to be fired up. And here
I've
we're
seen
going to
this with
see
Iceberg. Like Iceberg, you want to leave him alone in the lane, because if you bully him out of lane, he's gonna go Super Saiyan mode after that, trying to prove himself. And players like that, they're dangerous, man. So yeah, it's very possible that Analog works like that as well. It's like, oh, yes, make it harder for me so I can prove that I'm even better than you thought I was.
That's the cockiness of these mid lane players. You kind of need it for them to truly pop off. What do we feel about this Rubik, though, in this game? Not a hero that we see picked generally all that often. You know, there's no major spells. I mean, there are some really nice spells to steal here, but nothing that immediately screams at me that this is an absolute must-pick Rubik game. So is this a El Micho special as well here, Sexy Fat? Does he enjoy playing this Rubik in these games?
Yeah, he does play it, but it's normal for him. It's not like he's the best Rubik in the world. For example, his Sky Mage is one of his best heroes, but I get to see him playing Rubik a lot of times too.
Well, talking about comfort, Picasso has certainly gone back to what he's already shown he's comfortable with. And I do always like the Morphling pick versus an Ember Spirit. It's nice versus the Doom as well, because Lincolns will keep you safe for a long time. But Rubik does have a very long range Lincoln's pop here. Like, he can't have been too happy to see that hero come out.
It would be very interesting to see how Picasso decides to itemize here, because like you mentioned, there are several ways for them to deal with him, and we've already seen in game 2 how itemization can change the outcome of how a hero is played out.
Oh yeah.
But of course, this is game 81 on the Picasso Morphling. If there's anybody who knows how to make this work in a professional setting, it is going to be this guy. Honestly, sometimes the way he plays, I feel like he should have been born in China. This guy just has so many interesting ways of playing out these heroes. Now we see them banning out the AA. Don't want some big counters against the Smurfling. What do we have left here? So Centaur taken out, no Death Prophet as well. So it looks like Hokori are betting and gambling that this is going to be a mid-tiny rather than occupying the off lane. How are we feeling about this, Kips? Do you want Dark Mago Tiny or do you want Sacred Tiny here for Thunder Awaken?
Now with the Batrider being out, because this would have been an amazing Batrider pick, like especially in the position of this Morphere. Like if they didn't ban the Bat, I'm pretty sure the Bat would have come out right there. But they got I think the Tiny is the best idea now, because we've seen how much they struggle with fighting the Monkey King inside their Wukongs. And you pick Tiny, you just yeet him out, give him a ride on the airlines, express ticket out of there. And you take the fight afterwards, which is I like that idea. And in order for that to work, you're going to have a reliable blink timing. So yeah, give me that mid tiny.
Dark Mago, of course, one of the ones to show us the full strength of this hero in prior seasons here in South America. So certainly within his wheelhouse as well. So that leaves Sacred, the one that needs a hero. And on the other side for Hokori, Sexy Fat, this Doom could be off lane, it could be support. This Monkey King could be safe lane, probably is going to be safe lane. But there is still some versatility inherent in their draft here. What do you want to see that like brings it all together here for the side of Hokori?
I think they need a hard carry. Which one? Still don't know yet, but something maybe like Void. Don't have that much of a damage to follow up with the Chrono, but I can see it's a good pick here. The only reason I feel like this is because Monkey on a matchup of hard carry against Morphling is really not that well. Doesn't go that good. I think they might choose to go for a hard carry here on Hokori.
Let's see which hard carries in the game. There's Faceless Void, there's PL, which we've often seen against Morph. Doubt they'll go for the TB here. I mean, they do have. Hear me out. If they go for Void, you buy Aghanim Shard on this Ember Spirit. You know, you throw in the spirits with the bubble. There you go. There is your damage. But they go for something completely different. They are still going to be sticking with the Yuma Monkey King, it appears here. And they get this Brewmaster. Still unclear whether or not this is going to be a support Brewmaster or an offlane one and support Doom or offlane Doom. But they have some ways now here, Kips, to just pre-Linkens at the very least, keep Morphling out of the fight. So all that net worth you invest into him can't be turned into damage against the enemy team.
Yeah, this really secures their team fight as well, which is again where we saw Thunder Awaken really struggle in the previous matchup. Versus the Brewmaster, you gotta go through, and Morphling can't really go through the Brewlings until very late in the game. And they get this Weaver again.
Okay, the Sacred Weaver at that. We find ourselves in a very interesting and peculiar situation. In game number 1, the last overall pick for the side of Hokori was this Lycan that didn't necessarily feel like it gave the team the ability to fight more often, and it felt like it was going to be very reliant on a stellar laning phase. Now, though, they seem to have swapped places because Thunder Awaken going for this off-lane Weaver here. Sexy Fat, what do you feel about this hero for Sacred? Does it fit the bill for what they needed to end out this game for Thunder Awaken?
I think Weaver's a good pick here. It's very good against the Monkey King pick, right? You give vision him on top of the trees all the time. You can force Roshan. Because the way I see, they have like a snowball draft for Thunder. So if they be able to force out these Roshan fights, it will be very nice. I think what's Weaver gonna provide a really strong early game and a potential to force those fights for them on Rush Pit.
Strong early game for the side of Thunder Awaken, but Kips, strong heroes and very strong hero familiarity on the side of Hokori. Is that what's going to be enough to carry them through at the end of the day here? That last pick Brewmaster, like you mentioned, giving them the team fight, giving them the ability to always pick where they want to engage on the map. Is it going to be good enough for them to prevent this massive snowball of Thunder Awaken?
Yeah, like Thunder Awaken will certainly have to step it up with their target selection here, because all of these team fights are going to get disrupted by the Brewmaster if he gets to be there, if he gets to just lift heroes up, stun heroes around, because they're sort of counting on getting this Dark Mago Tiny into a position between the minus armor of the Weaver and the extra attack speed of the Ogre Magi to actually deal significant damage, and the Brewmaster needs to either be the target for that and needs to go down. You get a silence for that, it might help, or he's got to not be there at all. And I'm looking forward to seeing them avoid this Brewmaster, but they will certainly have to play better than the last game if they want to do that. Because last game, they were not about to turn down any bad fights, and they should do that this time around.
Definitely, we're looking forward to seeing how those fights pan out and looking forward to just seeing how the game goes on its entirety, because Hokori need this victory to stay in contention to qualify for TI. Thunder Awaken, though, still just practicing for the greatest showcase of the Immortals. To find out who has got this one in the bag, we've got Gareth and Lacoste on the mic. Take it away, gentlemen. We'll see you after the game.
Here we go, game 3. And Lacoste looking at this a lot on the shoulders of Dark Mago, because Thunder, sure, have secured mid to late game with the Morphling, the Ogre, super hardcore carry. Tiny needs to get a lot done, to, like Kip was saying, fighting into Brew ulti, fighting into this mid-game timing of Hokori around BKBs.
Absolutely. One thing that I don't think I've seen is position 5 Doom. It's been a while. This is gonna be super greedy. Good Brewmaster game. I don't think they have as much lockdown as like Ogre doesn't get close too much. It's gonna be on the shoulders of Tiny, as panel discussed about. Grimstroke will need to pop his like Inkswell Phantom's Embrace to get on top of him, be able to lock him down. Later on might get a little easier once Morphling gets to his items. But not sure what this position 5 do. I like they wanted to shift priority, that's for sure. But I don't think I've seen Doom ending up as being position 5 in a long time.
Yeah, it's been quite a while, but I guess, you know, with Devour, you're going to get your Blink eventually, then you'll have that Blink Stomp no matter what. It's definitely going to be a challenge, though, when you're facing up against this Weaver Grimstroke lane, right? Shikuchi with the Inkswell, you've got the Swarm on you. It gets incredibly nasty when you're a Doom with a Monkey King in the lane. You're not going to be able to apply your own oppression. You're going to be getting run at non-stop. Especially if Weaver goes for like the Urn build.
Yes, this is something that South America did do during the previous DPC tour and the one before that, where they like picked Weaver. I didn't put too much trust in it until I saw it. I think it's good. Just because the item build was Spirit Vessel Ags, and then you don't have to care about Doom. Damage on their side is, let's say, a bit static. Brewmaster is not really the damage. Rubik has some really nice spells to steal in this game, whether from Grimstroke, there's always going to be Shikuchi, Avalanche, also great value from it. Look at how the bottom lane for Hokori is going to work out. Having this Rubik plus Brewmaster, you always have a spell to ignite people off of it. And then having like Grimstroke as a 4 on top with Weaver, it's just like not a strong combo. Like you can get on top of people. Ogre might stabilize the lane. Like Ogre once again is gonna do his thing, throw his body in and soak up some damage.
And secure on that farm of Pakars, yeah. Well, we'll see how they do. Vitali, as always, starting out strong. Just goes in with a thunderclap. And there, like you were saying, Pandamu puts his body into the meat grinder of the lane.
Look at him go.
Thwack. Thud. Wallop. We need some of those old school Batman cutscenes and noise text appearing above his head, like we have with,
I tried
the
reading
Punch of
comics
Dogs
when
here.
I was older. I'm just not into that. I don't know why. Like I like the artwork in it, but when it comes down to like reading those, I just couldn't get into it. I don't know why.
Yeah, but me neither. I never really read comics. My brain immediately goes to the old school.
I've read your bio. That counts as comic. On Wikipedia, yeah.
How does it start again?
Although born in Bradford, Gareth moved to wherever. Bottom lane,
Vitali?
Vitali's gonna drop.
Yeah, dead there as he tried to run around the trees. Pakaz. Just with level 1 waveform and Pandamu with the ignite, enough damage to kill off the brew. He does have a double wave arriving at his tower though, so that's El Misho just blocking it and making sure it doesn't come into tower range. 1 creep, 2 creeps will slip in there. In fact, all the melee ones now getting whacked away by the tower.
Pandamu showing on the bottom lane who the real panda is.
The stronger panda. The 5th spirit. I always forget that there's a bloody void panda now.
We don't see it too often. When it comes to late game, you know, it gets there eventually. Morphling 12 CS. Ogre doing a very good job on this bottom lane, being able to secure Pakaz last hits, because Morphling didn't buy any region. He's going straight into Morbid Mask, same thing as he did in the previous. By previous, I mean the first game.
Yeah. I think he bought 1 set of tangos when they got the bounty runes, and that has been
Don't
it.
make me look stupid, Gary. He didn't buy anything. Even if he did, you lie. You lie on the broadcast.
But I want to look smart for once in my life, please, Lacoste.
All right, I'll check it. I'll check it. I'll download the replay.
Yeah, you will. Matthew. Oh, he's dead here to Yuma. Sacred, no Shikuchi for 5 seconds. He wants to try and finish off this Doom, and will do so. Taking a lot of damage in the meantime, though. He's got Shikuchi to slip away from Yuma now. Sadly, doesn't have the urn for any charges early on, though, with those kills. And what's he got? A salve from Matthew being delivered straight from Fountain.
Lane is coming back, so Sacred will get some farm.
Oh, a courier snipe. El Misho misses uphill. Morphling juking his courier. It's going to get away, actually. That 1 miss uphill. Very, very unfortunate for the Rubik, and that's Morbid Mask. Back to tier 2. It's being bullied away, but still not going to be gone for like a minute and a half or whatever it might be. That's level 3 Morphling.
It's big, though, but Ogre bought some region. Like, he was still sharing. What does he bring? Oh, then never mind. The mask didn't die. I thought the mask died. He's bringing it back. I was looking at the top lane. Doom has this imbalanced creep burning mana, 100 mana burn, and also having a mana aura. It's too much. Even after the nerfs to it in the previous patch, it just feels too good.
Yeah, the fact it's a passive, a little bit busted. How's that mid lane going, though? Because I peek at the CS board and I see 3 green heroes at the top. Thunder not messing around, and Dark Margo absolutely not allowing Analog to lane here, it looks like.
Dark Mago is strong laner. Like, he knows his matchups very well. And he threatens a kill. Like, he gets close with the Ember Spirit, he can potentially burst him. Doesn't have Bounty Rune to fall back to. Just use the Courier.
Yeah, just holding one Fairy Fire, about half HP. Pretty sad place to be as this Ember, but you know, his CS isn't atrocious. It's just when this happens, Dark Margo wallops him. Glyphing the creep wave as well. Top lane, Monkey jumps in and out. Thought they were having a go there. But Sacred has his wave. And Yuma contesting this pull across to the large camp. Oh, I like this from Dark Margo. We were talking about, the panel was talking about this with the Puck, the Bat Rider heroes that can do this, and Dark Margo showcasing it perfectly. Drag the wave, clear out the small camp at the same time. And a TP mid. Matthew not going to get a bottle refill or anything. It looks like aggression is coming towards Analog. Catch him before he's level 6.
It's a very good timing. Look at it go. He has a point in silence.
Yeah. Avalanche, toss, Inkswell, silence. Down goes the Ember.
That was perfect.
It's a story as old as time, right? Ember, Storm, whoever these spirits are in the mid lane, before they're level 6, you catch and you kill.
Because what Matthew did is, like, he knew exactly when the enemy ward is gonna expire. Because usually you do have a ward scouting things out and seeing things on the high ground. So if there was a ward, like, this just doesn't work out. Sacred on the top, we'll have Shikuchi available. But yeah, props to Matthew.
That's a good spot, yeah. 6 minutes in. No, there's no vision. And well done there by Sacred, just holding his stick until the last second. It looked like Hokori might have had his number when that support rotated out of top lane. Dark Margo opting for the phase boots this time around. I've seen a number of different builds for him for this mid lane Tiny. Quite often he's a fan of the brown boots, magic wand, plus blink dagger straight up, and he gets like 8 minutes in. But very often he goes these phase boots so he can run around the map and cause havoc pre-blink and utilize these early runes.
He's off to a really good start. I think he has a good feeling how far ahead he is over Ember Spirit, and he can afford to go for it.
And he still has Matthew sitting in behind him. Ready to go if anyone comes to try maybe gank Dark Margo and even smoke themselves out of the mid lane. This is where the phase boots really start paying off for themselves. He's so fast moving out of that mid lane. You don't expect the speed and reaction time for him to get there. Pakaz and Pandamo have already started on Vitali. Reaction from Gareth and El Misho here to try and save the brew. But look who's here. Coming in from the back is Dark Margo. With one hefty slap, he'll kill off the Brewmaster. Look for Gareth now, tossing Doom into the midst of Pandamo and Pakaz. Fortunately for El Misho,
and that's the power of the phase boots. Him being able to rotate. They might still catch El Misho because Tiny has phase and also Bloodlust.
He's super fast. And they saw him with that Radiant Ward that's near the large camp down bottom. Matthew knows exactly where El Misho has run towards.
There's a big wave on the mid lane. I don't know if he wants to get that kill.
Oh, he absolutely does. It's Dark Margo. He wants to slay enemy heroes. Opponents must pay.
All I do is slay. He needs to get the last hit from it. Okay, he got it. Because this was 1.5 creep wave. Look at the damage on the tower. 700 damage. Ember Spirit did 700 damage to a tower, which is not something you usually see. Yeah.
He does have a Blightstone, but yeah, you're right. Analog with a haste rune. Looking to try and replicate what Dark Margo did just a minute ago. But again, under that Radiant Vision, which is kind of unexpected. And that allows Pakaz to get to his own high ground. Safe and sound with Pandamu there. And another smoke. And this is it's deja vu hitting me here. We've seen this before. Matthew and Dark Margo from mid lane, smoking down bottom. If they can catch Analog. He's got one remnant out. 300 mana. He jumps immediately. Absolutely did not want to get caught. But now he's left his teammates adrift out in the open sea. And Gardic will be a freebie for Pakaz.
That's a 5 Doom. Usually you see Doom. He is the priority target before he can get like his spells off, especially Doom doesn't have it. But this is also position 5. Not a lot of net worth. They were very close killing Analog. If they get the Phantom off, then Dark Mago can get the combo off on top of the Inkswell, and he dies.
Oh. And he just about jumps away from that silence. Yeah, latched onto a creep, didn't it? Dark Mago gonna soak up the rest of the creeps. While all this has been happening, rotation has bot for the past 2.5 minutes. Top lane has been pretty calm. Sacred getting a decent amount of farm, 1,000 behind Yuma, but still in a good spot. And another Battle Fury for this Monkey King. I know you weren't a fan in the previous game, but how do you feel about it this time?
It's his thing. I'm still not a fan of it. Like, it worked out in the previous game. I don't think it comes down to, like, item build. If he... What I said, like, if you get the items to fight early on. Ooh, Dark Mago. He was thinking about it.
Yeah. Well, what was he thinking about, though? Just running
He
on the
was
tier
thinking
1?
about the toss back. I don't know how he planned to execute that one, because telekinesis was still available.
He's got phase boots and an arcane rune. He's thirsty. He wants that Rubik real bad. Monkey King feels something coming up top, so jumps across the canopy. Weaver and Matthew were there, lurking around in Shikuchi and the shadows. This does give an opportunity for Hokori, though, to push bottom tier 1. So Analog Vitali with a catapult wave, force the glyph. And Thunder, are they going to make a move of their own? They don't appear to want to relinquish control of their own triangle, which Pandamu is stacking up tremendously. And Pakaz just farming some large camp stacks in his bottom jungle as well.
Dark Mago is going to have a Blink Dagger after clearing this creep wave. Finds Possessed Mask. Sends it back. So Morphling can use it. Morphling going Lincolns this time around, playing against Doom, so making an adjustment. Also good against Rubik if like Rubik wants to steal stuff. Also thrown in the air against Brewmaster Panda. Good item choice, I would say.
Yeah.
And now Sacred putting in some pressure on the top tower. I don't think they're going to be able to defend this. Does have enough money to buy a full Spirit Vessel. No charges yet.
Oh. He's away.
Great casting, Gary. Oh.
That's what I'm paid for.
I should apply. Where do I apply? Be play-by-play caster.
I'm not telling you.
Oh, Brewmaster.
There's the toss back. Is Brew going to try and TP home? There's no stuns coming. The damage was nearly enough. By the way, no, that's my job. You can't start oohing and eyeing. That's
I wasn't like this time around. I was not trying to say the same thing as you, because that was close. I mean, it's a tier 2 tower. It hurts.
It does.
Dark Mago still wants to take a fight. Does have Arcane Rune. Picks up the haste.
Yeah, he goes straight on the Ember Spirit. Oh, he's running to the way. I mean, I was oohing and eyeing at the Wild Wing using Tornado and Analog, then getting comboed by Tiny and nearly dying.
That's the last one. Dark Mago's hasted. He's dead.
He's got another combo. A tiny combo slapping down the Ember, and the tips come out from Matthew.
This wasn't tiny. This was like Spirit Breaker locking into you. Wherever you go, he follows.
He's charging across the map with his phase boots. And Ogre, speaking of charging across the map, Pakaz is in enemy triangle with the rest of his team. They're all here.
My question is, where is Rubik at? Like, he's 0, 1, and 0. He needs to be able to kill his team. He stole the attribute shift, so he's now super tanky. But I also want to see him just, like, do stuff. Like, because you have Doom 5. Brewmaster doesn't contribute much unless you use the split. Monkey's going for the Battle Fury, so someone needs to do something. I mean, Monkey's getting still a lot of farm. But, yeah, I would love to see them use their heroes. And there's the smoke.
Yeah, they want to use this primal split as frequently as they possibly can. And so far, the first 13 minutes, it's pretty much been the Dark Mago show, as is required of him. As we've been saying, from panel and through the first 50 minutes of this game, they definitely need space for Pakaz to try and solidify his farm, get his couple of items up. And Thunder have been spamming smokes from mid down to bot. But now it's Hokori's turn, as the smoke will expire in a second. And Radiant Vision, the Observer Ward in that sneaky position. It sees the three of them moving into mid and may allow Dark Mago and Matthew to get the jump in onto the Rubik. You're asking what he's getting done, and the answer is absolutely nothing. In we come with the Gardic Doom and the Ember Spirit Remnant finding Matthew. Grimstroke down and a Doom onto the Weaver, but Pakar's Morphling arrives, cycloned into the air, sent skywards for a second. The Monkey King being tossed around by the Tiny. As Pandamu cleared up by Analog, but they've still got Pakaz and Dark Margo alive and ready, roaring to fight and jump in onto Yuma, who's being isolated.
That Doom on Weaver, like he couldn't find opening. Rubik dying immediately before the fight even starts. Dark Mago, like he's popping off on Tiny. Also going for the BKB. Might change his mind if he's off to like, because he's off to a really good start. But if he feels like, I don't want to waste anything, I want to be able to get my spells off. I'm playing against Ember and Brewmaster, so I don't want, I want to still be able to move. Okay, they're hunting him down as a remnant.
And away he goes. Yeah, Dark Margo 404, looking for a fifth. Vitali doesn't have split. Tossed into the Inkswell, Weaver arrives. Phantom's Embrace makes damn sure that Dark Margo picks up his mega kill streak. Now the dewarding game begins. Pandamu going to clear out some observers, has vision of his own above the outpost top. They'll collapse into mid-tier 1, where El Misho has just shown that he's bloodlusted the tower. So Dark Margo with a blink forward, Avalanche, Wand and Toss gets the procedure perfect into Pakaz's mega kill streak. They're spreading the wealth and the love here on Thunder Awakens.
It's also going to be the tower for Pakaz. They do not defend this, and he can be full HP. Having that Bloodlust, again, playing into Ember Spirit, same matchup as in game number 1, because Analog played 3 games of Ember Spirit. Turning into Ember in these fights, being able to chain them, slight them.
Look how afraid they are. They jump the Ogre, and then they quickly realize, wait, we've got to disengage. We can't get stuck around in here. Can't get bogged down in an extended team fight, because now Ember's silenced, the Soul Binder, the damage from Pakaz. Oh! Oh!
Oh!
Oh!
DD on Tiny now with the Bloodlust. It's level 1 Bloodlust, but yeah. This is like different game where Sacred gets to do whatever he wants in these fights. He's very active. He was thinking, whether I need Aghanims or do I go Road of Athos? He switched 2 times around already because I'm paying attention to that. I would have preferred maybe if this is like Mjolnir, not Mjolnir, Gleipnir into Aghanims to be able to scale, but he's still gonna get a lot. Ooh, good toss back from Rubik.
Guess who it is
still
starting
gonna
the fight? There's Kobe down there, straight into him. Dark Margo, monstrous Tiny. He shows this time and time again how active he can be with just Phase Boots, Blink Dagger, and a bit of RNG from the runes. He's always getting DDs and Arcanes and stuff on his Tiny, and this Tumbler's Toy that he's holding has allowed that additional, just a little touch of mobility
now
for him.
Deeping bottom, El Misho does have a blink, but they see him.
Doesn't quite have mana for full Tiny combo. Does have it now. El Misho and Yuma just retreating back towards their triangle, which they do have double warded here, Hokori. Feels like that's going to be the prime position for them to try and fall back and fight into. Matthew under a Dire Observer ward. You see 1 and you kind of expect 5. Matthew. Yeah, he's going to get slammed by them. Stolen Avalanche. Make sure he can't slip away. And the immediate D ward. But Dark Margo, he's got eyes on. Target acquired. Jump on to the Yuma Monkey King. And that's the big one. Oh my god, the Wukongs. That lasted about half a second. Dies straight after casting it. And Gardic has been left stranded. Yet another move from Thunder. Losing a support, sure, but finding huge kills off the back of it.
This position 5 Doom, not really doing much. Like 2 Dooms used on Weaver, got nothing out of it. He maxed out Devour, so he wants to be able to farm his Blink Dagger. Brewmaster on the mid, forced to use the split.
Go on then. Dark Margo is toying with him at that point. Basically screaming, go on, use your split then. Waste your ulti. I'll kill you later anyway. And Vitali going to be incredibly upset about this. That's 130 seconds with no primal split, which is the majority of their teamfight control and quite a lot of their damage or pushing power. Is that Brewmaster ulti. So a massive window now for Thunder to go take
2
more
minutes.
fights.
They can do whatever they want for the next 2 minutes. No Doom, no Bruce Split.
Well, they're not already doing whatever they want. How could it get
Feels
any
like
worse? Inkswell Matthew. Is that going to connect? No. Analog has a BKB. We'll get involved in this fight as Dark Mago tosses people around and trying to catch this Brewmaster on his way through. Pakar's joining in now as well. And Dark Mago is just way too tanky to try and focus down. Ember has the Remnant away. Well, El Misho dying to Spirit Vessel.
He's gonna tick.
He is. There's the finish. But it only gets more difficult, right? Ags on Weaver is here soon. They're going to have this Tiny with a BKB in about 5 minutes. Pakar's is, man to Lincoln's. He's kitted. He is tooled up.
Next time they misuse one of their abilities, Thunder Awaken can transition that into Roshan. Like whether we're talking about Doom or Bruce Split, they can go in and like they might even try to go in now because there's another illusion rune to tank it up. Who's gonna pick it up? It's gonna be Tiny. Okay, they're going in.
Yeah, Swarm level 4. Into Roche we head. Dire scanning to make sure Monkey King has the freedom to push out top wave. But Hokori bunkered down on that right-hand side of the map, and Monkey King even TPing down there to join his squad. And as Roshan falls, he hands over the goodies. 5 minutes of Aegis on this Morphling. He's not died yet.
And I don't think he's gonna die at all this game.
Yeah, I don't. Like, well, how do you even do it, right? Like, you Fade Bolt, pop the Lincolns, and then you blink Doom, but by then he's pressed Attribute Shift, and there's a Weaver Time-Lapse Aghanim Scepter coming out on Courier now. It's a rough one. Matthew, blink Stomp, doomed. Well, got it.
He's alone. There's no one around him. Okay, there's Rubik. They're gonna get the kill.
He will die eventually. All the Time-Lapse, though.
Or
I
is
saved
he?
him. I saved him. He's alive. He's fine. Now they can move on the Doom and the Rubik if they want to. Swarm's there. Oh, El Misho snipes him. But we'll probably have to die for it. Sacred gunning it for the Rubik. There's no escaping that, even with a stolen Shikuchi. And the rest of the squad, Thunder, are pressing high ground. They've got Aegis on Morphling. They've killed off a Rubik. They know there's no Doom. There's a Blink
No
Avalanche
split.
toss. And Dark Margo, he's set up perfectly again onto this Brewmaster. 2 heroes down for 20 and 40 seconds. Analog does have BKB, but I just don't think they're fight ready. There's a War Stomp on the Morphling now, but Gareth is being blown up by Pakars, and an Avalanche toss coming through again to kill off the Ember.
2 fights coming out. I think they try to go on Brewmaster, so he was forced to use the split, and they saw Doom using his ulti. So this is gonna be free set of barracks. Like, they don't defend this.
Right, so it's 22 minutes in. That's the full lane, yeah.
Too cooldown dependent, and also Monkey. Like, he's not joining the fights. I think this potentially could have had the same outcome of the previous game if, like, rest of the team didn't play as good. Because, sure, you have Monkey with the Battle Fury BKB, but you joined 3 kills. 2 were from the laning stage, and you picked off Grimstroke once. That's your kill contribution. Like, your team needs you.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back. He joined 2 fights, right? Because I remember clearly he used Wukong's twice, but as it finished casting, he died. So I don't know if that's like a mental thing.
Does that count?
He got involved, but he didn't really do much, right? And I wonder if that's got under the skin of Yuma a bit, where he's now saying, I joined these fights and I didn't accomplish anything, so I should just keep on farming to scale and maybe find the perfect fight later. I just struggle to see a world in which there is a perfect fight against this Thunder squad.
Rubik put Weaver on the hill, and then Dark Mago comes, tosses him back to neutral camp. What a bro.
Nice. What a gamer. He's going to have BKB soon on Dark Mago. Can
They're
disassemble
going
his Echo
in.
Saber.
Like, they're going for the tier 3s. They have double damage and Aegis for a few minutes.
Echo wild. Kill the creeps. Kill the buildings. Kill Hokori. Pakaz just plants himself on the top of the staircase. King of the hill. Nobody's touching him. Yuma is nowhere to be seen. He's off in the Radiant Triangle, continuing to farm. And Hokori, yeah, they've got Primal Split. They've got spells to steal. Rubik can irritate and annoy his opponents, but it's not going to do much when Dark Mago's jumping you like that. Good Shikuchi to dodge away from the combo, and they do doom the Tiny. Weaver can time-lapse him back to full HP, while Pakaz just unloads with his double damage rune. Wukong's is good, though, with a balance strike there. They finish off Dark Mago. They find Sacred, too. Elmi shows the trade-off as the Aegis of Morphling will get popped. He was shifting downwards to Agi. 1700 HP when he comes back up, and with the BKB there, he'll shred through that Hokori Monkey King. Buybacks available on Yuma. Brewmaster, well, he's dropping pretty quickly as well. El Misho on the retreat. Pandamu and Pakaz a little bit stuck here on this dire side base, but with Sacred's buyback and return to the fight, they will clear them up and get a triple on the morph. Ember Spirit has the remnant back to Fountain, but the lane of barracks is left untended, undefended, and the double buyback from Thunder with Dark Mago and Sacred coming in. It looks like they want to try and put this one to bed.
They were not hesitating at all to use those buybacks. I respect that, because they know, like, 1, 2, 3 big ultis used. It was a good Wukong setup on the side, double remnant getting in, and now they realize, well, without those ultis, they can't take the fight. Pakaz thinking about morphing into Ember Spirit to be able to chain him down. And now, I don't think they can finish the game immediately. They still need to take another fight. But tier 4 is gone, 25 minutes in. Morphling's dropping very low.
Yeah, he is. He's got Spirit Vessel charges behind him. But still a risky prospect, and we'll have to wait for him away. The chains, the remnants in, and the primal split trying to chase back towards him. Morphling, he's incredibly tanky, but he will finally fall. Gareth will retreat back, tapped by that tiny damage, and Yuma opens up on Dark Mago. Yeah, they kill the Doom. That's a position 5, and cross back with the Monkey King sent him throneward to blink away. Dark Mago survives, lives to fight another
Dark
day,
Mago
and comes back in with the Inkswell Avalanche, but he doesn't want to commit into Wukong's command. Sacred telekinesis lifted up, but I don't think they can see him. The sentry's too far away, and Monkey King with a 2-man Boundless trying to cleave into the Tiny and Weaver, but can't get the job done. And that allows Dark Mago to get another round, another set of Avalanche toss combos in onto a couple of them, and this swarm is so bloody irritating. It's killing off the Rubik. It nearly killed the Monkey King. Dark Mago still contending with this primal split. They cyclone the Grimstroke, the primal spring back in, the Inkswell comes, and Dark Mago dead. That's a dieback on the Tiny and the Weaver.
They also used some buybacks on the enemy. Rubik popped the buyback, so did Doom, but they hold. They don't have the tier 4 towers anymore, but they managed to hold. Next Roshan may respawn in 2 minutes, so Thunder Awaken should look for that. I don't think they need to close it out. Dark Mago is going to be gone for a very long time. I believe he does have a BKB. Yeah, there was a courier flying to him. A bit overextension. I don't think they needed to go for the finish. Like, you saw them respawning. You can't finish the throne that quickly. Morphling was sub 30 HP. Sub 30%.
Yeah. It felt like they were trying to tilt their opponents into calling GG. Pandamu's Ogre trying to take that outpost, but again, just met with the brute force of Hokori, who immediately snapped smoke. Kick it into 5th gear here in the Dire team. Dire Vision. They've got this deep ward that sees Pakaz. They can start with Yuma, bound the strike into the lift. They pop the Lincolns, and the Doom is there. They've killed off the Morphling. He's dead for 70 seconds. Ooh.
40 seconds until fast Roche spawn. They're gonna be okay, but big plays from Hokori. Going for a smoke like that. This deep observer ward that you mentioned. Giving them vision to be able to open up things.
And then the rebuttal. Inkswell, Avalanche toss. There's not enough to finish off. It's Analog Ember, but the Soulbind and Double Silence coming in. Dark Mago can start punching away, and they've cut the tree that Monkey was jumping on. He's stunned up for quite some time, and Analog down. Another Avalanche there from Dark Mago. Physical damage from the Tiny is good. He can face off against this Monkey King with a Spirit Vessel on him. He's forced the BKB and a buyback from the Ember Spirit. Dark Mago tries to TP, then goes for the toss play. Pandamu arriving with a stun on the Ember, while on the right-hand side, you've got Matthew battling 1v3 and getting a kill out of it. Sacred, chased back by Yuma. Analog nearly dying to the Tiny, but the Boundless Strike, it comes in until the Weaver saves him. Dark Mago's still alive. He died on my screen, but the Weaver makes sure he's still up.
Yeah, Sacred's doing a lot of work in these fights, being able to constantly spam Spirit Vessel on one of the heroes, like waiting until Monkey has BKB down to be able to like get damage on top of him, and they might go for the finish here. No buyback on Ember Spirit, he just used it. Dark Mago, he's trying to open up things.
Yeah, and it looks like no Brewmaster. Swarms on him. Sacred catches up with Pakaz's Morphling there as well. Short work made of that Brewmaster, and the throne already wide open.
Glyph
It's exposed.
on cooldown for 45 seconds, unfortunately.
And they've got this fire shield on the Morphling. No way of breaking through. This inordinate amount of tankiness on the Thunder side. Blowing up the Yuma Monkey. Gardic follows him into the grave, and GG is cool. Thunder coming back strong in Game 3 to finish off the series with a bang.
A little bit of an overextension in the end. Trying to go for the throne where they needed to wait another minute or two for everybody to respawn. But I like how they just are not afraid to use the buybacks. They always use it immediately. They had like nothing to TP to. I think there was a tier 2 tower and the outpost, so they connected with the team still relatively quickly. Hokori showing off that they're not a team that people are just gonna run over anyway. Managing to take down the game from Thunder Awaken is I'd say, solid sign.
Yeah, looking like they're the top 3 contenders. Again, similar to last season. As I fully agree that the buybacks from Thunder Awaken there, so often we see buybacks used around Roshan, used defensively around towers, so you can continue a fight that's already happened. But Thunder just completely happy to create new fights from these buybacks in the enemy base. You know, they're in the enemy base and they're buying back to keep pressing forward and keep that aggression going. So a 2-1 victory for Thunder here will bring a close to our first series. Game 1 and 2. Perfectly dominant from Thunder, the games that we expect. Game 2, a good showing from Hokori. Like you say, good contention here for top 3, top 4 spots in the league. I think it's time we pass it back to Snare and the panel to break down what happened in this series just a little bit more.
Well, Gareth, what I can tell you what happened in this series is, unfortunately, we've seen this happen with Thunder Awaken so many times, given their specialty heroes and allowed to excel. You know, we kept thinking, where's this Weaver going to go? In the previous game, they played it in the support position for Matthew, but Kips. So we should have maybe had an eye out for Sacred because, like Lacoste mentioned, the build-up was perfect to counter out the enemy team, given that you just press R, suddenly Doom is gone. Master Ult doesn't have as much impact. But also Sacred has a 90% win rate on this hero across 32 games and a 100% win rate this patch. Turns out he's pretty good at this hero, and they utilize it to perfection on the side of Thunder Awaken.
Yeah, and I really like the way that they do it here as well, because normally you see this basically with these static heroes, like a Medusa or something that will just keep on standing and sieging, but a Morphling is much more mobile, and Pakaz's Morphling is much more aggressive, and they really... It means that they get to use the other aspects of the Weaver besides the Aghanim's upgrade very well as well, following that Morphling in the fights, making sure that you are the follow-up or the vision giver. And yeah, that was a pretty impressive showing altogether.
Very impressive overall. Sexy Fat, when we saw this Doom early on in the draft, we obviously did not know it was going to be played in the 5 position. Didn't necessarily work out that well in this game. And obviously we saw the Brewmaster struggling really to have the massive impact. Do you think things might have been different if they'd swapped roles between those 2 heroes, or were they always going to be doomed to this kind of fate given the performance of the Sacred Weaver?
I don't think it would matter that much if they did this swap you mentioned, because Morphling was just a super good pick on this lane, plus the amount of attention that this Tiny gave to bottom lane, like the amount of ganks he did it, just destroyed any chance they had to like have a decent result out of that laning stage. So I don't think that they could have done anything different on the bottom lane.
Kips, you're talking about like how much Dark Mago needs to accomplish on this Tiny and how quickly he needs to be able to play on this map, and he certainly fit that bill. He was everywhere, obviously focusing a lot of his attention on the side of the map to enable Pakaz, but just in general, it just felt like there was no room to breathe on this map here for Hokori, no matter what they wanted to try. Hell, even this Monkey King, who was supposed to be farming all the time, he just couldn't do anything, just kept getting caught out. Somehow they had perfect vision of the trees he was sitting in. They cut him down like 3 times in this game. What could they have done differently on the side of Hokori to try and deal with this massive tempo that Dark Mago enabled on this Tiny?
I don't know exactly, because he was mostly like he was on this Brewmaster's ass the entire game, and the Brewmaster was the one that was supposed to be making these mid-game fights possible. But it felt like, because of Dark Mago just hounding him, it felt like you ever seen a swan trying to take off? It's a lot of flapping and a lot of clapping, and nothing happens for a very long time. Like, I feel like that's all we saw from the Brewmaster. He kept trying, and even if he got his ult off, it was just in a position where the Tiny could get out again. And I guess if you want to get this game going, you need to be able to somehow get the Brewmaster a game. But I don't know, the Tiny just stuck to him like glue.
Yeah, Tiny did not allow the Brew to play any part of the map, and there were a lot of awkward splits that legitimately were just used for the sake of survival. And when you're Dark Mago, you're like, great, we've pretty much won the upcoming team fight, because now you're not going to have the split. Aghanim Scepter was not really ever going to be timed very well, given how this early game went. But Sexy Fat, we also had issues, unfortunately, with them being able to deal with the Smurfling, right? Kips was mentioning in the draft that they at the very least have that long-range break with the Rubik, but firstly, the Blink took a little bit long to emerge on the hero, and I was looking at the game. By the time Blink came out, Morphling had Manta, Linkens, BKB. In these conditions, is it actually possible to deal with this Morphling anymore in that kind of game? And like, did they... I'm just trying to figure out a way that they could have played this game differently outside of just saying, yo, pick different heroes in the draft, you know what I mean? Or is it just doomed to fail no matter what? Is this Morphling just too strong from the side of Thunder Awaken?
The way I see what they could have done differently, I don't know if it's by picking or play style, I think Analog should have put more pressure on the mid tower. So like, if he constantly hitting mid tower, constantly cutting mid waves and just hitting the mid tower, they will know that Tiny is not on mid, right? So the people bottom can play a little bit safe. Because I think the game with the part from Hokori when they feeded so much at Morphling, it was just such a good hero for the match, right? If Morphe gets item, he will carry the game, like we saw it. So I think maybe they could pick like something like a DK to put more pressure mid, so Tiny must play mid and cannot apply these ganks on side lanes. Or even the Ember on Analog, he buy Orb of Destruction and just right-click this mid tower and make Tiny stay there to defend it.
Speaking
That's
of
the
like,
only option I see.
do you think maybe they could have tried to play a more fighting type of build on the Monkey King instead of going back for this Battle Fury? Sometimes in the Chinese region, I've seen Ame do this, where he's in a difficult game. Instead of going for straight up Battle Fury, he'll go Echo, straight BKB, sometimes Echo Maelstrom if he's feeling a bit spicy. Could that have been an option for them? Because it really didn't feel like they got any space to really utilize the Battle Fury. And they had to have known that, right? Before the Battle Fury came out, they were already under quite a lot of pressure. So what do you think, Kips? Would that have helped them out, at least to be able to challenge earlier on in the game?
Yeah, definitely. Like, because the sort of hole that they fall into with this this Monkey King going to Battle Fury and then the Ember Spirit needing to wait as well. Like, there's nobody to make the plays if the Brewmaster doesn't have a game. So, fully agreed with you there. Actually, like that would have been one of the moves they could have made in order to recognize that the storm that was coming at them from Dark Mago having such a good lane and having so many enablers on his team was needed to be countered by something more than just his poor Brewmaster.
Well, with that, Thunder Awaken will find themselves taking a 2-1 victory. Not that they needed the gas. It's obviously putting them in 2-1 in the leaderboard overall. But on the other side, Hokori regrettably dropping down 0-2. It is now looking very, very difficult for them to find themselves going to the major, given that there are such limited slots in South America. And because of that, that means they literally cannot drop any more games. And there's still some very tough competition to come. And speaking of tough competition to come, two of the teams they still have to play are two teams that will be playing next, as we will be having the team of Tempest going up against Beast Coast in our next best of 3 of the evening. That matchup, of course, also going to be quite intriguing because both teams are at a similar position right now in the leaderboard, and both of them need these points. Not in the position of Thunder Awaken, where you've already qualified for TI. You need to do something special to get to that level right now. So we are going to be taking a short break, but before we do, Sexy Fat, tell me your prediction for the upcoming series. What do you think is going to happen and what the score is going to be between those two teams?
Sorry, who will be playing? Beast Coast and Tempest?
Yep.
Oof. I think I'll go for Beast Coast. They just lost against Wolf, right, some days ago. So I think they're like hungry to win, and they will come really prepared for this series.
Kips, we've already seen what can happen when one of these teams that is accomplished here in South America loses a game. They come back with a vengeance. So are you expecting that from Beast Coast, or are you going to be favoring the underdogs of Tempest a little bit more?
I like Tempest, but yeah, I'm gonna go with this as well. Usually losing to, especially to Wolf Team, like that would certainly galvanize them over on Beast Coast. So I completely agree with Sexy Fat here. Like I think they're gonna show us some muscles today.
We'll be seeing whether or not they can flex on us, the side of Beast Coast, demonstrate the lessons learned at the major, and find a way to take the series against Tempest and put themselves also in a 2-1 situation in the leaderboard. And with that, we're going to be taking a short break here. When we return, though, the South American DPC continues. The third tour of the 2021-2022 season continues. But more importantly, the road to TI continues to get paved. So with that, myself, Snare, joined by Kips and Sexy Fat, we'll be taking a short break. Don't go anywhere. Tune in, and we'll be right back with some more Dota 2 action.